I am so excited you guys are here. I am so excited for my guest today. I'm so excited for our guest today because she is such a beauty girl, and I loved her every second she was on Idol. She was a little young thing with a parent. She had to have her mom, Clara, there, and she is so talented. I'm obsessed with her and her voice and her person. She's gorgeous. She's more beautiful now than she's ever been. She keeps getting more and more beautiful. She's been on many shows. She is on the show The Bold Types. She was on a big MTV series before, Faking It before that. I'm so happy for her. Her acting has just taken off. And I am just such a huge fan, and I'm so excited you're all here. Ladies and gentlemen, Katie Stevens. Can anyone hear me? I
Hello.
love you so much.
I love you.
And it's a love fest right now.
I know my mom, before I was talking to her before, my dad just called me like 5 minutes. He's like, all right, so it's gonna be on Michael's, and then I just like hit join and I was like, yeah, that's what you do. But my mom was like, did you guys used to have a nickname for each other or something? And I was like, no, I used to walk into the room and I would go, I'm Michael Orland.
Oh my God, that is such a good imitation.
Oh, I
I
literally was smiling from ear to ear, even in the first 2 minutes of you just starting out. I was like, I missed you so much.
I'm having such technical problems. I literally had to like stop and quit because the screen was black, and I'm like, well, I don't know what I did.
Well, that's not your problem. That's technology's
Okay,
problem.
it's mine because I don't know how to do any of it. Um, how are you? You live in Nashville now.
I live in Nashville now. Yeah.
You're in this.
I'm good. I'm just at home. I'm hanging with my husband. I'm married now. A lot happens in 10 years.
Got so much, and you have a beautiful, talented husband
I
who's a
do.
big writer producer. Who I just
hmm
saw today on your story that he's produced the next Lauren Elena album.
Yeah, so he has been writing with Lauren and he did a few demos for her and her team just loved what he did. So they were like, "Do you want to do this next EP?" So he like did it in like less than a month. They like
Oh,
just put it all together, but the songs are incredible. Hi, Grace.
my
Hi, Gracie.
Oh my God, that's so fun. I love, and I'm dying to meet. Well, I met him once at Idol. He came to
Yes.
Idol. We come watch his show or something. And I
Yeah,
remember
that
when
was like we were like 6 months into dating, and I was like, I'm so cool. I'm gonna take you to American Idol.
I have pictures of us somewhere. Like we stood. I was like, let's get in front of the American Idol logo, like where all the press stands.
Yeah.
And you know what? I was going through pictures, looking for pictures for us. Oh, hi Lee. There's my friend Lee, who I just did a live show with earlier.
Hello.
With Rivera. Hey, listen, this is what's so funny. I found the greatest picture of your mother that I'm going to send her later.
Oh
And
my gosh.
I couldn't find one of you and me at the finale, but I have one of you and your mom, me and your mom. And
Well,
so,
because she's the real star of the show.
obviously, listen, that had to be hard for your mom. I don't know. I want to talk about how Idol was for you because you were, underage and you had to deal with school on top of everything else that the other kids did not have to do. But you had to do all their stuff plus 3 hours of school a day.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, like I didn't know the experience any differently, so it was kind of all the same to me. But, I think it was on days where I was like exhausted and I still had to wake up at like 4 in the morning and go and do school. And then I would come in afterwards when we had to like do rehearsals and stuff, and I would see all the rest of the people who were on the show with me and they're all like exhausted. I'm like, shut up. I went to school before this.
That's right.
You
Were
got
you
to sleep in?
the only one in school that year?
Say again?
Were you the only one in school that year from the time?
No, it was me and Aaron Kelly.
Oh, right. Okay, that's right.
Yeah.
So, so crazy. Now, there's so many things I remember about you on Idol. I mean, including, all the songs we did. And I remember you telling everyone that you speak fluent in Portuguese. I know all your tricks. I know you know nose with your tongue. I remember like the stupid stuff too, besides all the great singing.
Oh, I did a lot of stupid stuff.
I remember also that you had said in some interview or something one time that your dream mentor was David Foster. Do you remember saying?
I do remember saying that.
And
I do.
I know you have an acquaintance. You're friends with Kat. Have you met David yet?
I have not. And
I
I
need.
actually have not. I actually haven't. I think I met Kat once, not through you, but it was like at some like women's luncheon. And it was like maybe 5 years ago, like right now. So I didn't even meet her like when I had done the show. But I know you're very close with them. And also Pia Toscano, she is always doing David's shows with him. So
Well, you need to meet him. I mean, that's so silly. He is literally one of my biggest idol. I mean, I am like the biggest fan of David Foster, and now to be friends with him, and I call him my brother-in-law because he's married to, my dear friend. But
yeah,
it's just so surreal. Like, we were just all hanging out on July 4th, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's my brother-in-law. But
he's incredible.
it's ridiculous, and I need to make sure that you can meet him. But what
Oh,
about
yes.
you were now season 9, which was
Mhm.
the beautiful Lee DeWise, who I love so much, who I'm gonna be having on soon.
Yes.
Did you stay close with any of the other contestants from that season?
Yeah, I actually saw Lee not too long ago, like right before all the COVID stuff happened. I happened to be in LA. I think I was doing press or something, and I was like not far from his house. And I called him and I was like, "Where are you?" I'm like, "Near your house." And he came and met me and my brother, and it was so nice because I haven't seen him in years either, but we've always been checking in on each other, and I'm really close with his beautiful wife,
Oh,
Jana. So
so much. I love her.
yeah.
But you know what's so funny is that you guys, it was a weird season. It was the weird season that everyone says, that Simon Cowell, whatever, he like, didn't put a lot of people through and blah, blah, blah. And all these now famous people who auditioned your season.
Oh
And
yeah, Tori Kelly, Todrick Hall.
yeah,
But
yeah,
Todrick went through. Todrick was in the top 24 with us.
didn't make the top 25. I remember listen, I am a big, huge Todrick Hall fan. He was not an American Idol person. Just,
Yeah.
he's way bigger than that show, as we
Yeah.
now. He just, he couldn't play that game. He was so different. I remember him like he was working on some Kelly Clarkson song his first week, and he wanted to change it up so much. I was like, all right, but
I vividly remember that because I think it was Since You've Been Gone that
yeah, it
he
was.
did. Yeah. I remember that. And I remember it too because like for me, I feel like I was very overwhelmed because like the biggest crowd I had ever performed in front of was like my high school talent show. So then going on a show like that, it's like literally being thrown to the wolves. And of course you start out, and I remember like Hollywood Week. I think I don't know if you remember this, but I remember the very last round of Hollywood Week, like everyone was getting sick and like losing their voices and stuff. And I remember you and Dorian were the two people that I was doing the final round of Hollywood Week with, and I just remember crying to my mom because I had no voice. And I went up to Dorian and I was like, I feel like somebody is stabbing me in the throat. Like that's how painful it was. And he was like, just go take a shower and like do cold water and then hot water and then cold water. And then I
Right.
remember coming back and like you just kind of giving me like a you got this nod on the day. And I sang, I think I forget an Adele song. I think it was like Chasing Pavements or something like that. And then I remember one of the judges being like, you're the only, I know you're sick and you're the only person who came in here and like didn't make an excuse.
Yep.
And for me, I was like, all right, that's awesome. Like if I get eliminated, like at least I got eliminated on like a good note.
Absolutely.
And I feel like I struggled though, because after I had made it through when I was in top 24 and then on, the judges loved me because I was coming in and I was singing these like old soul kind of songs.
Oh, yeah. At last, the skies above are blue. My heart was wrapped up in clover the night I looked at you.
Katie, you have something that just is either there or not. And for 16, to be able to sing like that,
Yep.
it's pretty amazing. Very good audition.
But then when it got to the live shows, they were all telling me that I needed to be younger. And I think for me, I got caught up in like just trying to figure out what that meant. And then so everything that I was doing, every song that I was singing, just like didn't feel like me. And then I wasn't getting good reviews. And so then I was just like, I just got to the point at one point where I was kind of like, why am I here?
Wow.
Like, I don't feel like I'm as good as everybody. And it was also, you know, because you're surrounded by people. I was the youngest. So you're surrounded by people who have been doing it for years and years and like gigging and, you know, kind of getting to know themselves as artists. And for me, I was kind of like, I like to sing.
Right.
So to be 16 and people be like, you don't know who you are. And I'm like, of course not. Did you know who you were when you were 16?
It killed me when the judges would say, but who are you as an artist? I'm like, I know 25, 30-year-olds that don't know who they are yet. I'm like, but that's what it was about. You should sing everything so you can figure out who you are. You're not a fully developed artist. Yes, that's what you're going to do when you're on the show. So you can Let It Be and Chain of Fools and Breakaway, I remember. And
well, and I think that was like when I was singing stuff like Breakaway, that was when I was like trying to be younger, and that's when it was like totally a flop. But I feel like when I was finally just like, for lack of a better term, screw it, like I'm just going to do whatever I want. Thankfully, when you get to like the top 10 and top 12, we have the themed weeks. So like you can't really tell me to sing younger because I'm singing, you know, Elvis or the Beatles or, you know, any of those songs. So there it kind of gives you an advantage because it's more about letting your voice shine through whatever the music is.
yeah. Did you have a favorite mentor that season? I forgot who all the other mentors were. I remember Adam Lambert.
I remember the week that I got eliminated. So the mentor I didn't get to meet that I was super bummed was Alicia Keys.
Oh my God.
But I'm trying to think if like, I think I was with Adam the week that Adam did. Oh my God, it was so long ago. I know there was Usher, Miley Cyrus, which I actually loved meeting Miley because it was, for me being that age, being the same age as Miley, I was like, oh, here's somebody who's doing it and is my age and like, this is what it could look like. But I'm trying to remember. I would say that like, for me, that was probably my favorite mentor because now looking back at it, I'm like, oh, she was 16. And even though in that moment I looked at her and I was like, this girl's got it together. Like she probably was going through all the same feelings as me, being way more successful, but being in a place of still figuring out who she is.
Exactly. But yeah, your mom just said Adam was in Las Vegas when we all went to Vegas.
Yes. She remembers. My brother just said, is there an echo?
Yeah, because I think I said something twice. I don't know, maybe. I don't know. Look, Ryan, don't be a wise guy with me. You're still a little kid. I'm kidding. Harry Connick, was he one of the judges? I mean, a mentor? I don't remember that.
Probably. See, my family remembers way more than I do.
Maybe you've blocked it out. No, I'm kidding.
No.
What about like going through, like, you didn't get to go to high school? Did you even like go to your senior prom that year? I remember you did something.
No, so I didn't. I remember that was like, I was super bummed because we were rehearsing, I mean, champagne problems. We were rehearsing for the tour. And I was seeing all these photos of all of my friends and they were, you know, they were going to prom and it was really sweet because all of the contestants, like the top 10, everybody who was going on tour, they decided to throw me like a rooftop prom. So we all like, the hotel we were staying at had a pool. So everybody like, we got like pizzas and like played music and it was really sweet. I did get to because 2 days before we went to our first city for the tour, we had a couple days off, which serendipitously happened to be my high school graduation. So I actually got to go and graduate with my class, which was really special.
So, but you were on that season that, I mean, I love every single season of that show, every single season, but you were on the first season that Paula Abdul was not on. And
I know.
She was the big reason that there was something missing. Yeah. There is just said Katie is beautiful. She is. She's like so gorgeous.
Yeah, but I do remember because Paula did come to, I think she came to the finale.
Yes.
So I got to meet her at the finale and she was so lovely.
she is. I mean, she was the heart in that group. You know, like she, you know, made Randy and Simon be okay. Do you know what I mean? Like you had to have her. Like you guys needed that, and you
Yeah.
had Ellen and Car and Cara Diaguara said nothing.
Well, you know what's so funny is like last year, my husband had a songwriting session with Kara.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
So funny.
It,
But yeah, I mean, for me, like, I remember finding out that Ellen was going to be on the show, and I was super excited because I was like, I get it. Like, why not have somebody in there who is like is a huge fan of the show, who's a viewer? Like, the viewers are the one who are voting for our fates, anyways. Like,
yeah.
they're the ones who are going to buy the records. They're the ones that are gonna. So it made sense. And for me, I was like, thank God I had her there because she was always so nice. And I was like, every time I got like abuse from the other judges, I was like, thank God she's gonna tell me it was great.
No, and I'm a big fan of her songs too.
Yeah.
I really love her songwriting. But is there any, somebody just asked if there was any funny, like, behind the scenes story that you could share? Is there anything like, even like when you used to do the Ford videos, or when you used to like you have to do the press
Oh my
afterward?
God, I remember there was one Ford video that I got teamed up. We were all in like these like white like painter uniforms, and we had to get like splattered with paint for some reason. And then there was another one where we were on the Paramount lot where they had all of the the New York City streets and stuff like that. And so we did one of the commercials there, and I probably had had my license for like a year tops. And they wanted me to be the person driving the car, and I was driving Lee around, and Lee was like, "What the heck is this? Why am I the one not driving?"
Oh
And
my
I
God.
remember that was so funny. But one thing I wish that I could find it. I think somebody has it. I think Wendy, who was my teacher, might have it. But when I was in school, I was only taking two classes. I was taking like some like civics because I needed that to graduate, and English. And so it was like I completed school. I was in there. I had to be in there for like 3 hours a day, but I completed everything within an hour. So then I was dilly-dallying the rest of the time.
Right.
And I made a huge poster, and I drew every single person who was a part of the American Idol team. I like gave everybody an animal, and I made cartoon animal representations of every single person.
That's
Like I remember Art from costumes because I
yeah.
used to like jokingly from down the hall I'd be like Art, Art, Art. So I made him a seal. I couldn't tell you what you were. I don't remember. But
Alice.
I had by the end of my time there, it was literally a massive poster board of like everyone's names and their like assigned cartoon character.
Oh my God, that's the best. We have to call Wendy if she has it still.
I think she told me she found it.
Because maybe,
Maybe
well,
that was a dream of mine, but
oh
she
my,
might.
that is crazy. So what about, somebody just asked, and I wanted to ask you this too. Did you have a favorite performance? Because again, the judges, we couldn't make you guys understand that the judges were under the same exact amount of pressure that you were after you performed, for them to come up with something smart, funny, some great critique of what you just did. And they were just they contradicted each other every week, and it was a joke.
Well, could I tell you, like, honestly, now looking back at the show, I feel like our season was more about making the judges work and less about like actually cultivating us as artists and finding somebody who was actually going to be the American Idol. Obviously, they chose an incredible winner, but I feel like the focus was more on like the judges being like, okay, what is it going to look like without like Simon, without a Paula, with Simon and Randy, and how do we make that work? And so like I remember there was like one, I think it was when I sang Baby What You Want Me to Do. And like I remember it was like towards the end of the show, and I just remember all of the critiques were just like rushed through, and they were just like, yeah, that was great. And then they were like, Simon, yeah, no, it was great. And then somebody else was like, it was great. And I was like, what? you guys have like dragged me through the mud on every other week
And
of
now,
this season, and now it's like suddenly, and that was the week that I got eliminated because it was double elimination.
oh, right. So I found all those pictures of all of us at when we went to perform at Access Hollywood or something. I
Oh
found all
yeah. Me and Andrew Garcia.
that's right.
Um, but yeah, it was crazy, and I wouldn't give up that experience for anything because I feel like it really did allow me. My mom and my dad had always had this rule, even though they knew my brother and I both wanted to be in the industry and perform. They were like, you're going to go to school and you're going to get a degree first, unless you have something that's propelling you to where like going to school would prevent your momentum. So obviously I had the show, and thankfully I did that because it allowed me to have the momentum to like just go and try whatever that meant, whether it be acting, whether it be singing, like to just go out and try. And I feel like, with music, being on the show kind of sent me for a spin because I feel like I got off the show and the judges' critiques were still in my head. And I feel like they're still in my head to this day of being like, who am I as an artist? What is it that I have to say? Do I know? Like, I don't know. And I think what you're saying is true though, that like you have to just like move through it and try to find it. And that I think is what the show is supposed to be, which is why I was so happy to see that like in seasons after mine, they finally gave people like in-ear monitors, and they had people from a label there to kind of showcase what things would look like, and what the motions are after what you
Right.
would do on the show. So
So that and right after you. That was right after you when they brought Jimmy Iovine in.
yeah, I think that was like the toughest, because I remember when we went on tour and we finally got in-ear monitors, I was like, this is a game changer, because I would always be on stage being like, I can't hear myself, and then listen back to my performances and be like, oh, that was kind of out of key or like out of tune. And it was because you can't hear yourself. So then I was like so jealous when I found out that people got in-ear monitors. I was like, man, I would have been so much better.
Whatever. We're a baby, and you did so great. But let me just ask you. So, what was the night you got the double elimination? What was the theme that week? What was that?
It was the Elvis theme, so it was Vegas. So we had
that?
gone to Vegas, and then yeah, so right before, the week before was I think was Beatles week, and that was where Michael Lynch, Big Mike,
Yes.
got eliminated, and then he got saved.
Oh,
So then the following week it was two people.
and you, I think were you in the bottom three more than one time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, thankfully there were some weeks where I wasn't, but yeah, I mean, I remember specifically the worst bottom three moment of all time was top 24. It was like the very last week where they were going to announce the top 12.
Right.
And I remember thinking I was going home because I had done so terribly. I think that was Breakaway. And I was like, there's no way I'm going through. And I remember like going up to Ken Warwick and being like, thank you so much for this opportunity. Like, I've had such a good time. And meanwhile, he's like, this girl like doesn't even know that she's like making it. And I was like saying my goodbyes already before the show. But it was because I thought that there were a lot more people there. And I still believe there were a lot more people that were on the show that were more solidified in their artistry than I was. And so sometimes I watch the show back, and even though I'm so grateful that I had made it through and that I had that experience, like I look back at some people that I made it further than, and I'm like, oh, they were better than me. Like, I'm not ashamed to say that.
But I love that you can say that, but that's not what the show was about.
Yeah.
Wasn't a talent show. It was a TV show, and they wanted to make a great TV show, and they
But the best thing was, sorry. The best thing was my dad came to one elimination show, and I think it was that one. And it was like when they were announcing the top 12, and I was in the bottom, and it was down to me and the other girl. And then I made it through. But my dad was like so stressed out. He looked at my mom and he was like, I can't come to these anymore. So my dad, for the entirety of my time on the show, any elimination show, he would not physically go and sit in the audience. He would go to a bar in the Grove
Oh my God.
and have a drink while somebody gave him from the East Coast play-by-play updates
Oh my
of
God.
what was happening.
That is funny. Did your family, I can't vaguely remember, did your family like move to LA while you were on the show? Did they?
Yeah, so my mom was out there and my dad had been laid off of his job, which was sad, but also it was like just good timing because then he was able to be out there through the experience with me. And my brother was in college, so he got to come out one week with all of his college roommates, and they were like all in the audience, like six of them, like holding pictures of my face on like popsicle sticks.
Oh, that's the sweetest though. God.
Yeah,
Well, let me just talk about after you left the show. I know you were doing a lot, you were working on a lot of music. We wrote a song that I still am obsessed with.
I know.
I
We
was
got to
gonna,
do more of that.
I know, I would love to anytime. I was gonna pull it up and play a piece of it, but I didn't know how it's gonna sound on Instagram Live.
Yeah.
But listen, how did you transition even though into the acting thing? Like, how did that even happen? Because then all of a sudden you got so huge. And now, let me just say one thing. The people that have not won American Idol, that have big careers, the only thing I can say about all of them, including you, is that you have an amazing work ethic. Anybody that went through that show and thought they were going to gain fame overnight and didn't want to work at it, bye. And that's why I say about everybody who's still successful today, including you.
Yeah, well, I mean, I agree wholeheartedly. Like I learned coming off the show, first of all, that it's like you're on your own. Like you got to figure it out yourself, unless you win or unless you're like signed to the management company or get signed by a label. Like you're really on your own. So for me, that was like a harsh reality. And being 17 and living in LA, I was working with other people through music, and I got caught in like a sort of bad production deal with somebody, and then that discouraged me from just the industry itself. So I was just like in a place of feeling like super down, and I was signed to my agents through American Idol, CAA, and I knew that they had an acting department. And so I just asked my music agent, I was like, could I be set up with somebody from the acting department just to like kind of get info and like figure it out? And so I sat down, and I remember on my way to that meeting, I was like, all right, you got to get your big girl pants on and you just got to like make them believe in you, whatever. And I just remember walking in to this meeting with my who wound up being my agent, Aaron Cully. And I was just like, look, I know you get a lot of singers in here that say they want to act, but like, I'll do whatever. You just tell me what I got to do and I'll do it. I'll go to whatever class. I'll like do whatever it takes. And
Yeah.
I was like, because I was just trying to get them to like want to represent me. And she just looked at me and she went, okay. And
Wow.
she just like decided to take me on in that moment. And I know she took on like a few other people, but I think that I just had this fear, and I kind of had my fear driving me because I was like, I don't want to be a person that's only known for having done American Idol. Like I want that to be part of my resume, but I want to do bigger things. Like I want to be one of the success stories. And so, I spent 4 years like going to acting classes and going to casting workshops and, still singing on the side. And I remember there was an audition after like 4 years of me going out on auditions and hearing, no, 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 this is just a singer who thinks she can act. And like you're saying, I feel like when people are on Idol, you're thrust into this like life-changing world. You're going to movie premieres, you're like doing all this stuff, and it does feel like you've made it in a sense.
Right.
And I think that there are people that come off the show feeling a sort of entitlement. And I get it because like I felt it a little bit too, until you're like knocked on your bum and somebody tells you like, no, no. So I just remember going into auditions, and like the fact that I had been on Idol was hurting me in these auditions because it was the only thing that was on my resume. And then I got an audition for the show Nashville, And the character was a girl from New England who was on a singing competition show. And I remember calling my mom and I was like, this is made for me. Like, it's mine. And I went out for it. And it was one of the things that I got the furthest on. And it came down to me and one other girl. And then I didn't get it. And I was crushed and heartbroken.
Yeah.
But from that, then I got a couple more auditions that week. And one of them was the Faking It show. And that was the first time that somebody had not looked at my resume at all. I just walked into the room and I did the audition and they said, you know, you're it. And all the while, I also realized that I was running out of money. My mom's reminding me of this. I had also realized that I like ran out of my money that I had made on Idol. And my mom was like, we're not going to give you money, get a job. And so I got a job at Sprinkles Cupcakes at the Grove.
No.
And we used to have to park our cars on the American Idol lot over the summer because the Grove is so packed. So I was parking in front of the Idol stages, getting out of my car in my full Sprinkles Cupcakes uniform and walking to work and being like, wow, I've gone back a couple steps. But then from that, I think that really like kind of lit a fire under my butt because I was like, either I'm going to be a person who succeeds and just like figures out a way to make it happen, or I'm going to be selling cupcakes for the rest of my life.
With nothing wrong with it if that's what
Nothing wrong with it if that's what you want to do. But I remember people being like, I recognize you. And I was like, no, you don't.
Wow. And you know what's funny today? When I tell people, when I mention your name, people forget. It's almost like this happens about Kathryn Merteuil too. They forget. They're like, which I think is kind of cool. I think it's kind of cool.
I love that because for me, I never wanted it to be, especially when I moved into my acting career, I never wanted it to be like Katie Stevens from American Idol is on this show. I wanted it to be like Katie Stevens as my own entity, as actress who can sing, who can do all these things. Oh, by the way, remember she was on American Idol.
Yeah.
Because I think that like I don't like when I see people who like try to bury their American Idol story, because I think that like I wouldn't be where I am had I not done that. Like I talk to my mom all the time. Like I was with my mom like a month ago and we were in Connecticut and I was just like, it's crazy to think how like one day changes your whole life. I was like, had we not driven to Boston and like gone to just decided to go and audition for American Idol, I would probably have gone to school, never thought that like entertainment or anything in the industry was possible for me. And I would, who knows where I would be? I wouldn't have met my husband. I wouldn't be in Nashville right now. So it's just like really crazy to think about the domino effect of any decision you make.
Wait, so that's what I was going to ask you. You auditioned at Gillette Stadium?
Yeah.
Oh, that would have been funny. I mean, I was, one of the preliminary judges that year, and because I used to do that every year, and that would have been so funny.
Patrick and Megan were my producers in the tent.
That's who put you through the first round?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I mean, honey, you're so talented. You're so beautiful. You're smart. I'm so happy for you. You have a beautiful life and that you've made. And I love that you don't deny your Idol, background. It made you who you are today. And it made you a great performer. And I love that your acting has taken off. I'm so proud of you always, always, always.
Thank you. I know. I'm just like waiting for the day that I can like do a Broadway show and call you up and we can like do shows together.
Oh my God, I want to do a show with you anytime. I want to get together and write. I need to come to Nashville.
Yes. Oh my gosh, anytime. You have a place to stay.
See, Chris Allen offered me his guest house in LA.
Okay, wait. I need just like background. I need you don't have to tell me on here, but I was driving through my neighborhood and I was like, that's Chris Allen. I'm pretty sure we live in the same neighborhood.
I'll tell you right now, he lives at, I'm kidding. I don't know. I know I'll find out for you and I will put you two in touch because you guys should know each other.
Yes. Well, I like met him like super briefly, like during my season, because people, come back and say hi. And that was so funny because I remember like I was one of the idols who like came back and said hi during the season after mine, and that's where I met Lauren and became friends with Lauren. And then like fast forward many years later, now she's like doing a record with my husband, which is really funny.
That's so crazy. I can't wait to have Lauren on. Oh, your mom's coming to LA in September, and we are going to have a
She is. That's news to me.
Well, she didn't want to until today, so you couldn't get mad at her. That's what she told me. She texted me earlier. I'm kidding. I made that up. We'll go to lunch at my favorite place, Red Moon, and have a nice cabbage salad, sit outside and be socially distant, and we'll take our mask off to eat our salad.
Yes.
And so many great people are on. My friend Celeste is on. I see my friend, one of my students' moms.
Hi, Britt.
Look at you. Everybody loves you. Now, I'm just going to tell you, I put this, my
Little do they know.
Whatever. You know, that crazy fun little 3-second video that my buddy Caesar, who's a brilliant, he's a brilliant, editor, and he does all the social media stuff. He does Kathryn Merteuil and he does Megan Hilty, and now he's helping me as a favor. Anyway, but that little video he put on of you, it had like 10,000 views. I'm like, I need Katie to be on my show.
I was literally like, because I do, like, anytime anybody finds out that I was on American Idol, they always decide to like pull up a video of me singing on Idol, and every time I just like kind of like fall into a turtle shell. And it's not because I'm not proud that I was on the show, but I'm like, that was me going through puberty
In front of the world.
I remember Ryan Seacrest like asking me if I had prom dates, and then I was like, I don't know if I'm even going to prom. And then like I got so many Instagram messages from like people asking me out to prom.
Oh my God. Look, say hi to my mother. Your mother's here and my mother's here. Carol.
Hi, Mom.
I'm Carol at 508. That's my mother.
Hello.
And loves you, honey. You're such a sweet person. You're such a good person. I love you, love you, love you from a Connecticut.
I love you most.
And what a treat to see you. And thank you for being on this show with me. And I just can't wait to see you in person and give you the biggest hug without a mask on.
Yes, likewise. I'm just going to kiss your face.
All right, I can't wait. All right.
Love you. Thank you for having me.
I'm about to see if I know how to save it successfully.
You will. You got it.
Love you, and love to Clara and the whole family. I can't wait to see everybody.
Yes, we can't wait either. I love you.
Okay, bye.
Bye.